Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me, Matt from Diazable, coming at you with another album review. And today we're checking out the band Eternal Sleep with their album Desperate Prayer Blues. Now, this band is out from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They've been around for, I think, almost 10 years, but they're not the most active band. I think because the members are all in different groups and are in their personal lives a bit older, 30 plus, maybe even 40. So I just don't think it's a very active band and everything. But when they do play and stuff, people tend to really show out for them. They play a style of it's a mix of like it's metalcore. It says it's metalcore. I guess I get that with, but I feel like it's more hardcore with like 90s grunge alternative sounds to it. My own personal take, but to each their own. But yes, let's do a little dive on the latest album they've dropped. But yeah, the intro here is a bit on the slow and brooding side. It's really drawn out, and it has some really slow guitar strums being played across this intro. It gives a sense and feeling of dread and death is in the air, I feel. And I think it's a good way of setting the stage for this album. And a little bit of like towards the end, kind of like old Western vibes.
Even when you're gone, I'll tell them my religion's you. When punctures
When the song kicks in and everything and the feel of it, the first thing I thought of was like fast, high octane rock, which I think is a good sound here. The vocals, they seem like they're very like subdued and kind of like muddled a little hard to hear, but also riddled with a lot of pain. There's a lot going on between in his vocals, I think. So it makes it kind of hard to hear them. Nice mid-song bass solo, which is pretty cool. Very tight and really groovy guitar work on this track. There's a slow and deep mid-song break that's nice. Drums use the cymbals like crazy on this particular track, and they sound really good. And towards the end of the song, there's like a really mean two-step. So pretty impressive, good song. Here you definitely get those 90s grunge sounds that I was talking about earlier. You really feel them here. I want to say kind of reminds me of Alice in Chains a little bit. Maybe I'm crazy. The vocals are very large and very echoey here, with some hella deep and solid riffs and kind of some like punchy drums. The overall song structure is pretty simple and it feels good. But I will say the kick drum, at times it could be a bit more punchier or like mic'd up a bit better. Overall, it's a very solid and surprisingly good song. So I want to play a clip of Against the Wall for you. Bit of a surprise, yeah. Kind of got those 90s grunge vibes. Alice in Chains, yeah. Am I right? I hear this song's a bit heavy and somewhat groovy throughout the whole song. More rock than hardcore. That hard rock sound is really kind of like coming in strong here. Guitar tuning is nice. Mixing up the hardcore style vocals with the hard rock vocals is interesting. Overall, pretty standard breakdown, and overall, just a simple song for the most. Here on this particular track, they're really fusing that 90s style rock sound with the grunge and hardcore being mixed together, sounding pretty good. It's heavy and groovy, but again, the kick drum needs to be louder, and kind of the same style breakdown, so kind of get a little bit of repetition here, I feel. And I'm not sure at this point when I was listening to this album how I feel about this band's style. It all kind of feels kind of similar. Not saying it's bad, just kind of sounds the same a bit. Oh, here's a little clip of An Honorable Death. Here we got some hella loose and big two-step energy here. He sounds like Lane Staley from Alice in Chains with his cleans. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I definitely feel the vibes, and like there's a big influence there. They got some interesting vocal patterns here. And towards like the middle of the song, there's like a really good like fighting riff that just makes you want to mosh hard. Bass adds a lot of heftiness to the song, especially in the middle of it and everything. Also the drums towards the middle of the song, you got some chops. So not that bad. It's an interlude with some like sad Western vibes to it. Makes me feel like it's like a man's going out to face a battle that he knows he's gonna lose. Kind of like the end of Red. I'm not gonna say that. I don't want to spoil any video games for you. But he faces it anyway. Like he knows he's gonna lose, but he has to go on to this fight. The wailing guitar really drives the sadness in the song, I feel. So I think it's a very, very impressive interlude. It really flows with the overall feel of the album. Here we got some crunchy and hollow guitar work with some really tight drumming that gives the song an overall upbeat groove. Cleans, they be good. You can't argue. They sound good. The clean vocals here. A bit more catchier than the other songs. Has a really fun vibe to it and everything. But not enough to like super excite me. It's better than the batch of songs that came before it. The execution on the production, the sound, the execution on the sound here is really good. Kind of gets stuck in your head. This particular song, it's got a really good catchiness to it. Here, this song is a bit slower, deeper, and harder. It's not playing around with the heaviness. They're bringing like that heavy heat. They're not fucking around. I would say the cymbal use on this particular track is really good, and they're just overall they're tight. They're just in the zone on this particular song, I feel, with some really sick lyrics, and overall it's pretty simple, but it works really well on this song. So I want to play a clip of the There Above. Fucking clean transition, baby. Drums are getting more interesting towards the end of this album, I think. They sound really bigger and bolder with the drums. The song kind of reminds me of the band The Miles Between, like an old straight edge band. Not a bad song. Just overall, it's pretty like decent. The vocals are the most noticeable thing and impressive part of this song. But I will say, up until then, once the breakdown comes in, I would say that's probably the most impressive thing on this track. Here, it's more hardcore than rock now. They're really bringing their hardcore influences here. Fast, very groovy song. Reminds me of the band Blacklisted, and if I'm correct, I think they're from the same area, so I'm not surprised there's some overlap and influence there. Vocals are clear and very easy to understand. But still sound really hard. And there's a really good breakdown of this song as well. And now we're back to those 90s style grunge vibes. The range on this guy for the vocals is very impressive. I think in this genre of having high vocals and low vocals is not an easy thing to do, so kudos. But overall, it's a pretty simple pattern in terms of the song structure, screams and chugs. But they're trying to make it towards really, I feel, epic towards the end of this album, and it's not that bad. But the breakdown at the end is kind of weird and a little awkward, I think. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on this album from Eternal Sleep, Desperate Prayer Blues. They do a really great job of fusing that 90s grunge style with hardcore heaviness that creates a very unique and particular style, which I feel like people are either going to really love or really not get. So I get that, and like pretty impressive to do that. And I would say the most impressive thing on here that got me was the vocals. His range is just like super hardcore screaming, got it. Really light, chill, alternative style singing, got it. He has versatility, which is really nice. And like I said earlier, it reminds me of Alice in Chains, specifically his vocals. he just sounds like their old vocalist and everything. So nothing bad with that and everything. The guitars are pretty simple throughout the songs, nothing too flashy. They're riffing really well. Bass is about the same. It's solid. It's chilling. It's doing its thing. The drums, the cymbal use here is really good on this album and everything. But the only thing, like I said before, was the kick drum at times could have been mic'd up a bit better. It was a little bit hard to hear. But overall, the drumming is pretty dynamic and whatnot. And I want to say the production was a little bit misleading at the beginning and with the interludes to make it seem like it was going to seem like a more depressing and sad album, which I don't think it was. Sonically, it has a lot of upbeatness to it. I just thought it was going to be more like depressing and sad sounding. Almost, I don't say shoegazy, but more of a slower vibe to it. But overall, still pretty good with the production and whatnot. And the songs all solid. A few songs that were pretty good, but overall, they did the job and did the trick. So I would say this album from Eternal Sleep, Desperate Prayer Blues, is a nice, solid 8 out of 10. Yeah. So thanks for coming on by. Let me know how you guys feel about this album. Comments down below, like, subscribe. A lot of people don't talk about this band, so I definitely think you should check them out. I didn't hear them for the longest. I saw their name a lot, but I didn't actually check them out. So if you see them, check them out. They're worth the listen for sure. And until next time, guys. Bye.